Hey everyone, welcome to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. We're here to chat about all things mental health, share some awesome stories, educate, and advocate to break stigmas and gain power through knowledge for all ages and walks of life, and give you the tools you need to boost your mental game. So grab a coffee, get comfy, tune in, get inspired, and let's dive into some fascinating conversations. Remember, your mind is super powerful, and with the right tools and knowledge, you can master your mental playbook. And while you're doing that, take care of you. Hey everyone, Christine here. Welcome back to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. I have shared my journey into the world of psychotherapy, and I've spent years listening to the stories that people carry. But today, we're going to turn our ears to two individuals at the beginning of their own journey into the world of psychology. Not as clients, but as future clinicians. So this episode is all about the journey of a psychology student, how they navigate academic challenges, learning experiences, and their own growth that they undergo while preparing themselves to support other people. We're going to explore the emotional terrain of being a student in this field, the pressures, the insights, and the human messiness of it all. If you are considering this as a career path, are currently on this journey, or just want to understand a little bit more, settle in as we explore the journey for students in the psych field, navigating your own mental health while learning about how to help others. Okay, so my two friends here with me today, two special guests. Danica is a BA psychology student navigating the early years of her psych education, and my niece. Danica is going into her third year of her BA in psychology, and while home for the summer, she works for us at our front desk as our evening office admin. And I have Rachel. She's a master's level psychology student, knee deep in clinical coursework and the graduate life. Rachel's finishing the last part of her Master's of Counseling Psychology at Yorkville University, and she's completing her practicum, her internship with us for 8 months. So she's joined Dalgity Counseling and Psychotherapy to do some learning with me. Rachel also has a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Bachelor of Arts honors in psychology, and with a concentration in health psychology and a minor in women and gender studies. Impressive. So thank you both for being here and bringing your honesty into the space and helping others, like I said, either with the journey or contemplating doing this or just wanting to learn a little bit more about it. So like I said, I have shared what led me to psychotherapy. I was 12 years old and I knew I wanted to work in psychology, but not everybody's experience is like that. So let's just start at the beginning. Whoever wants to answer can answer. If you both want to answer, cool. This one I'd like to know from both of you, actually. Different walks of life, but what led you to choose psychology? Like what personal experiences shaped your decision?
Mine is kind of similar to yours that you mentioned in another podcast. So I remember in kindergarten, my graduation, we had to sing a song about what we wanted to be when we grew up, and I said a teacher. So I always thought I wanted to be a teacher from like elementary school, but I wanted to do things different. I wanted to be the teacher that wasn't so strict. Kids knew they could come to at recess, no questions asked. I just want to do things different and help them. And then a little later on, I learned about a little bit about therapy, what that was, and then it just clicked. I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I realized I could still offer supportive space for everyone without having to be a teacher to do that.
And Danica?
Mine's kind of similar, actually. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to go to school for in grade 12, and I started working for Christine when I was in my grade 12 year. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I thought I'd go into psych. I kind of liked the environment that I was working in. So I did my first year psych, and I still was not really sure. I was kind of contemplating switching programs to education. After thinking about it though, I decided that it was more so just to like work with kids. I kind of want to work with kids. So that's when I was like, hey, maybe I'll stick with psych and I can be a child psychologist instead. So yeah, and I did some work at the school this summer and I decided that, yeah, I want to stick with that.
You didn't want to work in
No,
education?
I more so like working one-on-one with the kids as opposed to 25 of them. So,
Yeah.
So yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's
not
kind of
following in your father's footsteps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to me. I realized once I learned the other jobs out there that instead of a classroom, all the kids, it was more one-on-one. So that was super important to me.
Both of those were moments, right? Like you had an idea, you had, and I mean, I've already said you are my niece, so you've seen what I've been doing and that kind of thing. And it was similar with me when I was working in education, but I wanted to do more. There was only so much you could do in education too. You have kids who are refusing to come to school, but you can only work with them if they're at school. How do we get them to school, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, so there wasn't like one specific moment where it was like, aha. I guess it kind of was, but it was kind of a progression by the sounds of it. Was there any life experience that shaped the decision other than education? But like, did you have something that, you went through or you heard about or something you thought, I kind of want to help in this way? You know what I mean? Like sometimes people have loss and they see what the kids go through and it's like, oh, I want to help kids through loss. Or is there anything like that has come up?
I think for me, it goes back to school. I think just being like a shy, anxious kid and like I said, wanting to do things a little different than the teachers. So I think just realizing I wanted to help people in that way and not feel so alone because in the school it can feel, it's just a different environment.
Absolutely.
For me, I think just like working here and seeing like the kids go in and then come out with like a smile on their face, it like makes it kind of like, that would be like cool to do.
Absolutely.
Like myself. So
absolutely. There's sometimes, especially first session, and they're sitting there and they look terrified, and then they come out and they're like, bye, and they're all happy. They don't know what to expect, which I mean, fear of uncertainty and stuff is like the epitome of is actually what anxiety is, right? So all right, so let's kind of look at or unpack like student life and self-understanding, because being a psych student is one program for sure that is going to make you do a lot of self-reflection and understand yourself a little bit more. Have you guys, either one of you or both of you, what challenges have you faced navigating the academic workload while staying mentally well? Because that can be difficult.
I think for me, first year, just like the transition from being away from home too made it really difficult for me. I was really homesick when I first went, and I had kind of an unfortunate living situation, so that also added to the stress. So I'd say that kind of added to like, yeah.
Did you have something that helped you stay mentally well?
Mentally well. I'd say calling my family like every day.
I was going to say, except for your therapist. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say just staying connected with family from home helped me a lot. And then second year, I got my own place. That was also really, really helpful. I like saw like a huge improvement in my mood and everything and motivation. So that was helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
I was kind of a different situation. So I went my first year to Carleton in person, which ended shortly due to COVID. And so after that, I was never back on campus. I was fully online. So I did transition pretty well to that. Once I got in the routine of things, I actually worked pretty good from home. I liked being able to do it, like the flexibility of it. So my situation is kind of different than being on campus.
Yeah, but even, I mean, we all know the statistics with the pandemic and mental health. So being a student in a psych program from home, isolated, I know, with the Masters of Counseling Psychology, that's the program I did too. It's all online. So you do interact with other students, but doing the BA, was there that interaction as much?
So yeah, I guess the first year where I was fully online was difficult. Definitely a lot less interaction. And then when I kind of got in the routine of things, it took me a while to get in that routine to, okay, I go and do my work, and then when I leave, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because you're in your home, you're not really socializing. So even just having that, like, your friends to call, that was super important. And taking time, like separating school time at home versus like your own time at home.
That's what I told clients during that time. You know, you're working from home. You need to have a separate space to work and to live, and you have to get up and get dressed like you're going to work and everything, because you can get really stuck. Are there any mental health rituals that you do? You know, I've talked on other podcasts about, to maintain my mental health, my morning routine, looking at videos of my grandkids and stuff. Do you guys have any rituals during, not just during COVID, but like even last year, or anything that you do to maintain your mental health?
For me, like working from home again, really like creating a nice environment was huge for me. So like whether it was lighting a candle, putting on diffuser, really getting into that space before starting was huge. So I could do that and focus for hours. Whereas if I was in my dining room or my bedroom, the focus was totally different.
For me, I like having like a nice space. Even like I'm on campus and everything too. Like I go to classes and stuff, but even like my apartment, like I'm happy when I like clean it, like that like really like brings me joy. So I like therapeutic almost. So I like having a clean space. Other rituals, I'd say I make time to like for friends. Like we have movie nights and everything, so that's also nice. So
Yeah. It's really important. I know people will want to hear, you know, how to maintain that mental health, just with the workload, not even the content, right? Because you're both studying psychology at different levels at this point, how has studying psychology deepened or complicated your relationship with your own mental health?
I think it's really allowed me to stop and reflect on myself, to really look inwards and to kind of just pause. And I think it's also given me that permission to just pause, reset, to acknowledge how I'm feeling, and to go from there. I think otherwise I would just kind of go through it, work through it, not even think about it. And I think just giving myself that time now to check in and reevaluate has been really important.
Yeah, and I think also, you know, I know when I was doing my practicum, you learn even more about your own mental health, right? When you're actually doing the craft.
Yeah.
Are you noticing that too?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. The different dynamic, studying and then doing it.
Yeah.
And what about you, Danica? Have you has your relationship with your own mental health deepened or complicated?
I'd say definitely deepened. Like I feel like everything that like goes through my head is like a lot more clear when it comes to mental health and stuff. Like I understand why I'm feeling like that, and I understand like what's going on inside my brain when I'm feeling like a certain way. And I also feel like I've learned like how to deal with it a lot better. Like I've been given a lot of like strategies and all that just from like learning about it, I find.
For sure. And you're actually, I know like when you're doing your BA, you're actually learning about the brain, right? And you're learning why things work the way they do. And you're learning about all the different theorists and everything too. And some of it is a little disturbing.
Yeah.
Just a better understanding, so it can deepen. It can complicate it too, though, right? Because when you start to understand, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought everyone thought this way, or I thought, right? So it can complicate it too. How has your perspective about mental health, you know, as a whole changed since learning more about it?
I think I've just learned how much more common it really is, and especially people who don't quite realize what they're going through. And again, like it's that awareness that I kind of have now, whereas before I had no idea.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd say for me, yeah, kind of the same. And it's also like not to judge a book by its cover, just because learning about like everything, it makes me like understand what they're like truly going through, where it's like before I may have been like, okay, like how bad is it actually, where it's like now I'm like, okay, like I can see why you're feeling like that, and I can understand like where you're coming from.
Yeah, which can be like really enlightening and having that understanding, and it can be a blessing and a curse, right? Because for me, because I understand so much about why people behave the way they do, why somebody's doing something, sometimes people think I forgive too easily, and I'm like, yeah, but they're doing it because of this. Okay, but it doesn't make it right, but they're doing it because of this, right?
Yeah.
And so, there's that understanding, but I think it's more a blessing. I'd much rather forgive too easily and understand why someone's doing something than not understand it.
I think it's that idea too that like I've just had that perspective now that you don't know what's behind closed doors and everyone's going through things that they don't talk about. So just
Yeah.
having that understanding.
Yeah. Miss Danica,
Mhm.
you doing your BA at that level,
Mhm.
what are you most intimidated by? When you thinking about the next steps. So grad school, your career, you've got a step that Rachel's already almost finished. What intimidates, like when you think ahead, what's really intimidating for you?
I'd say the biggest thing is probably the cost of grad school. It is a lot.
Yeah.
I also think too, a lot of my friends and stuff, they're going their 4 years and for their bachelor's, whatever, and then they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm going for another however long, 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something else that I've kind of thought about too.
Yeah. Or more, right? Depends what
Mhm.
you want to do. If you want to be full on psychologist, then you have master's and a PhD.
Yeah.
In Ontario, you can be a psych associate, which they can also be called a psychologist, and that's a master's.
Mhm.
Depends what school you go to and everything.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I can see that can be intimidating. The
Mhm.
cost is a lot, and
Yeah.
that can, unfortunately, can hold people back from wanting, moving forward with that kind of thing. So what about you, Rachel? Like obviously you're already almost through the graduate part of it. So with your career and that kind of thing, what do you find most intimidating?
I think if you would have asked me this in April before I started my practicum, I would have said just the idea that you have to know everything, you have to, all the confidence, you have to have it all together, would have been definitely intimidating. I think
Mhm.
now having that experience, I'm realizing how different it is as my confidence has increased and just realizing that we're always learning.
Yeah. And that is something common that we've talked about this, right? Every student that we have come in here, they think that they should be ready right out of the gate and be prepared. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm still learning all the time, and I say that all the time, right? That I learn from my clients all the time, and I learn new things, and I learn from the other therapists here too. Just because you've been doing it a long time doesn't mean that there aren't things that you kind of get stuck doing a certain way. So yeah, you don't have to know it all as a student. You don't have to know it all, right? That is something for those of you going into this profession, into becoming a student. That is the main thing people say, or students say to me. Okay, but what if should I know all of the CBT stuff? No.
And you can never, like, everyone's situation's different. So it's just, I've learned to accept that everyone's unique. You have no idea what's coming your way, and just to be able to be flexible that way.
Absolutely. You don't know what's coming your way from week to week or bi-weekly, whatever they're doing. And that's another thing too that students often say to me, and you and I had this conversation too, is that you wanting to be totally prepared for the next session. And I think I said to you, and I said to other students, the pile of papers beside my chair, those are all times that I had stuff ready and the client brought something completely different.
And now you should see my binder I have full of worksheets that were never used.
That's right. That's right. And we just had the conversation this morning that just, 1 week, especially kids, 1 week it's like, I'm never talking to this person again. I don't want them in my life. Then you prepare for that. Okay, let's dig a little deeper. And then the next week it's, oh yeah, we're best friends.
Yeah. I think that was another thing intimidating for me was the thought of working with children, because we were taught, well, through my education, mostly all adult population. And so working with so many children here has been actually a really good experience. So even just trying something that I wasn't sure about has made me much more confident and knowledgeable working with them.
Absolutely. And that's why I told you you're going to work with children. That's something that I do for students too, is that You probably remember I always say, what do you feel most comfortable in? And when you say adults, I'll say, okay, you're working with children. And that's not to intimidate you more or scare you, but you're working with adults too, but my philosophy as a mentor, as a supervisor, is that this is a learning experience. So I want to give you everything. I want you to experience children. And so many times when someone says, well, I'm used to working with children, so I prefer children, and I say, okay, I'm going to give you adults too, there's like the deer in the headlights look, but then they come to me, I'm really enjoying, just like you have, right? So,
and now I can appreciate it and think it's such a valuable experience, whereas at the time it was just intimidating.
Yeah.
Feeling like you're thrown into something and you don't know what you're doing, and then
sorry.
Yeah. But now I can really value the experience.
Absolutely. And what a great experience to bring to the table with your clients that we do all the time with cognitive behavior therapy. Do you remember that time you felt really intimidated, but then you were pushed to do it and it actually turned out okay?
Yeah.
Right? I just therapized you there a little bit. I know I experienced this in my personal life and my professional life. Do you feel pressure to seem emotionally together because of your field? You might be a little bit because you're doing your BA.
I was going to say, like, not really as much right now. Like, I don't really feel that much of a pressure, but maybe going forward I will.
Yes. Yes, you will.
Okay.
So I think I used to think that until working here, and then I've realized that we've come to normalize that you have your good and bad days. So I think prior to this experience, I would have felt that pressure, and now I would say not so much.
What about in your personal life? Do you find, and maybe you're still young and just into it, do you find that people think that you should be able to figure like, why are you feeling anxious? You do this all the time. Why are you feeling stressed? You should know how to manage it.
100%. And I think it's easier to give that advice to others and help them, and then when it's about yourself, it's totally different.
Absolutely.
So I think I've also been really learning to balance that.
Absolutely. Normally, I am somebody, just my personality, where I don't get overly upset about things. I don't get really stressed about things. I mean, the past month or so has been a little bit different for me, as Danica's smiling at me. I'm pretty even keel. That's part of my personality. But then when you hear people say, oh yeah, well, you always have it together. Or someone, you're with your friends and there's just this, not that my friends would ever judge me or think it, but a lot of it's probably me too. But it's just this, I should have it together. I should be able to handle all this stuff because this is what I do.
Right. I was going to say, I think it's easier for people to judge therapists in that way. Just
Absolutely.
that expectation that they have it all together.
I mean, we're human too, right? And I think one of the times that was probably the most challenging, and you brought it up a little bit with your schooling, being a psychotherapist and having it all together was during the pandemic, right? It's so challenging in this profession. There was one point we were hearing about the health field and like doctors and nurses and how overworked they were and their mental health and everything. And I was like, yeah, it must be horrible. And I'm not taking anything away from a lot of the doctors and nurses that, especially in big hospitals and stuff like that. But there was one point, probably, I think it was like 8 months into the pandemic. And at first it was just Jade and I here, and we were adding so many extra hours. And I was trying to keep it together, and I was trying to, take care of everyone else. And all of a sudden I was we had to take a client to the ER. And because we were dealing with probably 4 or 5 suicide interventions a week and everything. And I was sitting in the ER waiting for wasn't my client, it was another client here, their spouse to come. And all of a sudden I was like, we have been put through the ringer too, right? And it's, not taking away from, the physical health and like the health field, but the mental health field, I was like, what is happening? But besides that, trying to keep it all together, it's unprecedented that a psychotherapist is going through, we talk about self-care. That's part of our training. We have to demonstrate it. We talk about countertransference and transference, which is, for those of you who don't know, countertransference is when the therapist is experiencing or feeling what the client is feeling. So if the client has something with family that the therapist, they feel it, and it can hinder therapy. We talk about that in theory. You've done it, with your master's. But to actually live it, like not just with a client, there may be transference. We were going through the exact same thing as every one of our clients at the exact same time. The isolation, the fear, the unknown, the uncertainty, worrying about my business at first, and having to see clients, all day online, where it was log on, log off, check email, log on, log off, go and sit by myself for the evening, right? So to go through that and try to keep it all together for my clients and say, okay, well, why don't we try this? And then how about we try this? Nature. Go skiing, oh, the ski hills were closed. Spend time with family. Oh, you can't do, like, all of the things that we would, right? That was probably, I mean, it was a horrible time for everybody, but holy cow. That, trying to keep it together while going through it was...
And it would be tough too with the few resources you are providing them, that you probably don't have much time for yourself to do those either.
Absolutely. At the office, I remember Jade and I, we were allowed to come into office if it was like an acute trauma that they had to have someone right there. Not right away. Like, I think like about January 2021-ish time we were. But if Jade and I were in the office, so in the summer of 2020, I think we could come in and see clients a bit. But even if we were just kind of popping in the office because we had to, and it was like, hi, we were so just seeing each other. And I mean, Jade started here in May 2020. So she was online. I didn't even see her for her first 2 months of working here. When we were able to see each other, when we're in office, even though we're busy and we're seeing clients, just on a break, we kind of hang out and talk. There's debrief. There's human contact. Even just walking past, if I'm walking to the kitchen or something, I'm like, hey guys, there was none of that. That was difficult to keep it together or act like you have it all together. Yeah. So one thing, that, well, I talk about all the time is boundaries, but also boundaries when you're studying psych and just being a student too, but we need to set some boundaries. And there's emotional labor involved with it based on what you're studying. Have there been moments for either one of you where, maybe for you more, Rachel, because you're really in, like, you're learning, I mean, you've had some of your courses have dug into some of like psych, more than just the psych concepts, right? Like you've had some that were a little bit more heavy, but moments where your studies felt really emotionally heavy, like emotionally overloaded, maybe learning about trauma or grief or abnormal psych.
I would say somewhat with an addiction course, just from knowing some people close to me who have gone through that. While the professor was awesome and great professor to learn from, just some of the material and experiences shared were a little bit heavy. Yeah. I actually didn't take the addiction course, and that was a boundary that I set for myself right on because of someone really close in my world who had addiction and passed away, but just the impact it had on my son and I knew that there was no way I could even take the course because it would be so triggering for me. I think now I'd be okay, but back I was like, nope, not going to do it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say one time I remember, I think I told you about it too. It was in my abnormal psych class, and one of our like year-end projects was to pick someone and like do like with a mental health disorder and then like discuss their journey and everything. Yes, and then one of the girls in my class, she ended up choosing her father. It wasn't like, she didn't make it super clear that it was her father, but you can tell in the pictures that it was her and her father ended up completing suicide. And it was just really heavy because I was picking up on all that, and her trying to get through it was really hard. And I was like, I thought I had to leave the classroom. It was just really heavy. Absolutely. That was like the one time I can really remember.
Yeah, I remember you calling me about that. And because, she didn't say it was her father, but psychotherapist in training. She was picking up on all these
Yeah.
cues.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember you calling, that was really heavy.
Yeah.
And what strength it took for her
Mm-hmm.
to do that presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Have either one of you experienced any friends who expect emotional guidance from you, come to you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say my friends expect it, but I think we've always, like my close friends, had that relationship that we know we can always go to each other that way.
Okay, do you find that now more they will come to you? No?
Not really. No.
Okay. Maybe once you like full in the profession.
Yeah.
I know I always just sit back because I know it's coming.
Yeah.
And my friends have been like my lifelong friends. And then I never offer it because I don't want to come across as like being all knowing or being like, But I have one friend, Shelly, and she always says, and let's hear from Christine. And she'll look at me and I'm like, And sometimes I'll say, yeah, I'm not working today. If they ask me for it, I will give some guidance, but there's sometimes I don't want to do it.
Yeah. I would say I'm similar that way where I don't offer it unless it's asked.
Yeah.
So I'm not jumping to that.
For sure. You don't want to, sometimes I think it could come across as condescending if they're not asking for it and you say, well, right, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? So I really, friends and family, right, I'm not somebody who'll just tell you what to do or give advice. I'm always, I wait till you ask for it. I'll listen. I'm a good listener, right, Danica?
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have friends that come to you for guidance? Emotional guidance more?
I wouldn't really say like come to me for that, but like I've had conversations with friends where I feel like I'm providing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like since I've started learning more about it, I feel like I've been giving better advice, if that makes sense. But yeah, like not really like coming to me for that because obviously I'm just like second or 2 years into it. So it's not like I'm fully like, okay, let's have a session here. But
well, and you know that, but sometimes as soon as people hear that you're in psych, in psychology, they think that you know it. And so they do.
I think it's almost that expectation sometimes. Like I have had a few comments where it's like, oh, well, you would know about this. And then,
yeah, absolutely. How about when people ask you or expect you to analyze them because you're studying psych?
I probably get asked that 100 times a day. As soon as they say, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's, oh, so you're analyzing me.
Yeah.
So it's more of a joke.
Yeah.
But I definitely get asked that all the time.
Yeah. Have you?
No, I've never had that. No.
I get asked that all the time, like on vacation or.
Like if you're analyzing them?
I get that all the time. I get
it like a joke, but I work at a golf course, so it's probably every single person I chat with.
Yeah. No, like I'll get, you're probably analyzing me right now. And I'll often go, nope. Full disclosure, I am. Only because I can't do anything but I'm not like, oh, this person is. I'm assessing. But I literally I was on vacation and a couple years ago with my sister and one of my best friends, and we met a group from the United Kingdom. They were amazing, loved them. We spent most of the week with them, but 3 days in, we were all hanging out after a few drinks, and one of the gentlemen says to me, okay, analyze me. Tell me what you know about me. And I said, it's only been 3 days. I don't really want to. And I had a pretty good idea. And his wife's like, no, just do it. And so I said, okay, this is what I think. This is what this is what I'm getting. But I've only known you for 3 days. And I said it. And the wife was like, he's just looking at me. And the wife's like, you nailed it. You nailed it. And he's like, how do you do that? So then his friend was like, okay, analyze me. And I said, well, this is based on things that you've told me and how I see you interact with people. So I analyzed him too. And it became kind of like a party trick or something, right? It is a little bit of a party trick that I do. And there are sometimes I will say to people just joking, but they'll be doing something and I'll just go, yeah, I'm totally analyzing you right now, just to joke with them. Sometimes when I do that, though, it just happened the other day. Someone said, no, do it, analyze me. And so I did. And then he was like, wow, like that is me. Like, well, yeah, it's what I do. Right? It can be fun when we're joking like this and stuff, but it can also be to turn it off, right? Like I am always analyzing. I watch a movie and I know what's going to happen at the end and I keep my mouth shut so I don't ruin it for everybody. But that is something that, you might not have it all the time now, but that does. So let's kind of look at linking theory to a lived reality. What's one psych concept that you were learning that made you go, wow, that's me?
I can't really think of a psych concept, but more of a term maybe.
Yeah.
So I think in first year, I remember learning about rumination and just the idea of that. I was like, wow, that's what's happening to me. And so for anyone who doesn't know what rumination is, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's just getting stuck on those negative thoughts or stressful thoughts and just thinking about over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And not finding a solution, but rather just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I think learning about that was like, oh, wow, I'm doing this a lot. And ever since then, I've been able to kind of redirect my focus and acknowledge when that's happening.
Absolutely.
So that was more just like a term that really stood out for me.
Yeah. Anything for you?
Mine's like the same as yours, but like I've been aware of it, like social anxiety. Talking about that, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, that really lines up with who I am, but I know it's like the same for you. So
Yes.
Oh, I could definitely agree with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember abnormal psych, and I also grew up in a generation where it was don't be so sensitive, suck it up, life's hard, get over it. And we didn't really deal with any of it. And I just thought I was overly sensitive. And then we're doing abnormal psych, and I'm like, that's me. That is like totally me. Like it was like check, check, check all the boxes. So yeah, for sure, that was a concept. And yeah, you too.
Yeah, you've been telling me that since I was in grade 1 though, so it wasn't really big news, but just learning about it, I was like, okay, yeah, she's right. She's good at what she does.
What do I know?
Yeah, I know.
That's the family part, right? That's the family part where you try to say something and because it's like, okay. Yeah. Was there any concept or term or anything like that that felt completely disconnected to your reality or from reality?
For me, I'd say just like all of the pre-ethic board research studies and stuff, like learning about those in like 101 and 102, I was like, wow, like that would never get through today at all. So
No, no, not at all. Even some of, like Freudian concepts. Yeah, the ego and id and stuff. But some of what I was like, what? Yeah, some of it was like, whoa, this is like way beyond. And obviously, he's a pioneer in it. And there's a lot of stuff that that is true that he says. But some of the stuff I was like, wow.
I think it's hard too because some of it's really dated, and with everything constantly changing, studying that was a bit difficult.
For sure. I mean, even like just the time when I studied it and you studied it, right? It's kind of like when I go back and I look at 80s sitcoms and stuff, I was like, that's bad. Like we could never say some of that or do some of that in shows now, which is also a good thing that we've evolved with Psych too, and all those concepts. Now we're going to talk about the segment, I called it Growth, Grit, and Graduation. What's something, like through this process of education and psychology studies, what's something you've unlearned or let go of during your psych education?
For me, I've let go of my like really high expectation for myself. I think that was more so just like a transition from high school to university though. Like I was like always used to getting like high grades, and I was like, I went into it being like, okay, I can't really be expecting all that because it's a lot harder. So I think slowly but surely I've kind of started to like bring the bar down for myself a little bit. Like not that I'm not trying as hard, but just like to be okay with not like getting 100% on everything.
Absolutely. And having like panic attacks if you don't. And I'm not saying that, well, you did sometimes too. But just, I remember your dad saying, just because you get, high 90s in high school doesn't mean you're going to get it in university. And then your first semester, you were like getting some good marks and your dad's like, well, that didn't work. But just understanding that, and I remember saying to you, when I hire a psychotherapist, obviously I want them to have skills, and but I don't ask them what their GPA was. I don't ask them what they got in an elective course in first year university. I don't care, right? I want to know that you're able to treat clients and do it well, and all of the things that being a psychotherapist is. So obviously, yes, you still want to do well and you still want to work hard, but You do work hard.
Yeah, thanks.
To kind of go off of that, I was kind of the opposite. So high school, I was average. I wasn't super high grades. I had a lot of self-doubt, didn't know how I would do in university, and I ended up being really successful. And then going into my master's, again, having that anxiety, like, this is going to be difficult, more work. I've had grades that I've, like, never had before. So while it's different for everyone, I think just having that interest and that passion for it is a huge game changer too, because it can be discouraging to, like, oh, it's the next level, I won't be able to do it, and then actually just applying yourself and trying has been really helpful.
Yeah, that's what I tell kids in high school all the time, right? Like, when you get to college or university, usually, not always, but it's what you want to do. By your master's, it's really what you want to do, right? But it's what you want to do, and so you do better at it than just being told, well, you have to do this course, right? How do you envision using your degree after graduation?
Well, for me, I'd like to go get a master's, hopefully.
Yeah.
That would be good.
All right. And then run this place someday, since we have the same last name?
Maybe.
We'll have to talk to the owner of the company.
Okay, sounds good.
When I'm done, I'd like to continue on as a psychotherapist.
Okay. In private practice, in agencies?
Private practice.
Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say, that's not a fair question. One good answer only.
I may have asked it for a reason. We just had our evaluation talk. Totally selfish question there. What is one thing that you wish more professors or professionals understood about being a student today?
Well, a lot of my psych professors are very, very understanding. I had one who literally said, like, the number that you get grade-wise doesn't matter at all. Like, if I can mark you pass-fail, I would. Like, it doesn't matter. Just, like, she's very, like, much, like, mental health over, like, anything. If you have any problems, email me, we'll figure it out. She made us do mental health journals for, like, grades, like, just to make sure that we were also, like, doing well. But compared to a lot of the other professors that I've had, it's, like, a very big difference. Like, a lot of them don't really have that level of understanding for, like, students' mental health and everything, and, like, how it can be difficult. So I'd say, yeah, for, like, all my psych professors are good. Like, they've always been good, but, like, for other professors, maybe, like
electives and stuff
yeah,
like
like
that?
be a little bit more, like, understanding and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. I would say the exact same thing. And you do notice a difference between the psych professors versus, like, any electives. So one thing I wish all professors would be understanding of is that we have a life too. Things come up. We don't make excuses if you need extra time on an assignment. I've gotten emails from professors before saying something came up, there's a delay in papers, and we accept that. So if they could just accept that in return.
Absolutely.
Without it being like an academic offense.
yeah.
A lot of pressure in place for that.
I've had a psych professor who literally gave us the option. Like, she said, you have 5 extensions over the school year. You can use them whenever you want, and I won't ask why. I won't judge. Just let me know, and you can use them, no problem. So,
wow, that's good. Do you find that people abuse it?
I would say for my experience at least, when they offer that, no. It's more like when they're understanding, it's just that, like, relief.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it's, like, very abused
That's
either.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. If you could give advice to your younger self, so in therapy we do inner child, right? But this is like going into this, starting this journey. So you could give advice to your younger self just starting this journey. What would you say? Pause.
Yeah, pause. My answer is, like, not going to be super deep because I feel like I've just started it.
I am that.
Yeah,
that
like,
inner
I still am
child.
the same. I'd say, like, just going into it, like, being, like, be ready to, like, be organized. Now I'm, like, obsessed with my Google Calendar and my Excel spreadsheet with all my assignment deadlines and all that. And, like, just, like, advice in general to anyone going into university, like, due dates, I'd say if you have a due date in your mind, say that it's 2 weeks earlier, so you have like extra time if you don't, like, something goes wrong or like whatever. But like, I don't really have any like deep message for my younger
That's
self
okay.
yet, but
That's okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, being organized is a really good message.
Yeah.
That's what we do with clients too. I do that with a lot of university students, like break it down, chunk it. Don't just have, I have this assignment, I'm going to do part A, or I'm going to find the resources or whatever on Monday, and then I'm going to do my sites, whatever, works cited on Tuesday. Break it right down so that it seems more simplified. That's CBT and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I would tell my younger self, like, you'll be okay. You can do anything you set your mind to. And I think I always struggled thinking I wouldn't be able to, or something would come up, or that it wasn't realistic or feasible. And just really putting my mind to something and working towards my goals. Being able to tell myself, like, you really can do whatever you want to do.
For sure, especially if you struggled more in high school and you said that you didn't know that if you could do it or not.
I remember,
and look where you are.
Yeah, I remember worrying from high school if I could do university, and then people would say, "What are you doing after?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'll never do my master's. I won't be able to do that." And then just pushing myself and really reaching that goal has been
absolutely. And now you're 2 weeks out from finishing the first half of your practicum. That went really fast, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I not advice for my younger self, but just advice for people going into this profession, just experience that I have, is just because you've been through it doesn't mean you can treat it. I was a counselor in a college for a period of time when I was building this practice. And some of the programs there that were more social service, social work, that kind of stuff geared towards that, there were so many people that ended up in my office because they went into that profession because they've been through it all. They have trauma, they have addictions, or someone with addictions, or, people think that because I've been through it all, and they were all triggered so much by it. Yeah, I have been through a lot, and that has helped my career and my understanding for clients, but it's not the reason why I did it, right? I don't think that because I had somebody in my life with addictions, I can treat addictions. I know I can't. Because I experienced some, abusive relationship, that I had to set those boundaries because I knew that I couldn't. That's not why I went into it. So that, I think, is something really, if you're looking at getting a psych degree because you've been through it all and you want to treat people with what I went through, take a step back, because you're going to be triggered and there's going to be countertransference, right? If you can work through that through therapy or whatever, then do it. You have an understanding, but don't make that your reason.
And to add to that, like, everyone's situation may be similar but different, and what worked for you does not mean it's going to work for the next person.
All right. Well, thank you both for your insight and your advice and sharing your journey. What I can tell both of you is that this career is so rewarding and so challenging and so humbling. It's going to make you feel like a rock star one day and a fraud the next, when you are trying to keep it together, when you're going through things yourself and you have to appear that you're not, or that you have it together for other people, and everything in between. You're going to experience everything in between. There are days when you are going to realize that you are honestly and literally, someone's life is at your hands. I'm not trying to scare you. And what you say or do can make all the difference. And then you're going to have a day when those people come to you and say, because of you, I'm still here. Or write you a card, or that you helped them get through that. We can only do what we can with the skills that we have. Those are things that people are going to thank you, and they're going to smile, and you made a difference in their life. And people are going to blame you sometimes too, right? But that's something that, when somebody can look forward to their future, when they came in to see you and they couldn't, So my advice to you, the days that are really challenging in this profession, focus on those days that people thank you and that you made a difference. I love all things psychology. I say I'm a psych geek all the time. Danica will tell me about a course that she has, and I'm like, oh, that's fun, right? Calls me or something and asks for help in something. I'm all excited because I love psychology that much. I love trying to understand what makes people tick, why people are the way that they are, and I'm sure both of you do too, and that's part of what led you, to this profession. And I love being a part of their mental health journey. I love that I can have this helicopter view and look at the big picture for them and help them through those challenges. I can honestly tell you that the rewards of this career far outweigh anything else. So knowing both of you, I think that you've made a good decision in your career paths. And the truth is, psychology isn't just a degree, right? It's a mirror. And when it's held up with vulnerability and curiosity and courage, like you guys have done here, it becomes something transformative. And I think that when you look at your, what you've been doing and how you said that some of the stuff's like, oh yeah, that's me, and that it can really change you, that deeper understanding. Thank you for being open and for reminding us that becoming a mental health professional doesn't start with a license. It starts with being human, right? We are human beings. So, okay, everyone, thank you for sticking with us. Tune in next week for our next podcast on living with a narcissist. Everybody's favorite, right? Make sure you follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share, like, comment, do it all for us. It'll really help us out. Enjoy your week and this rest of the summer weather that we're having. And while you're doing that, take care of you.